Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene calls for the immediate impeachment of Joe Biden's border czar. The CIA is caught putting disinformation into U.S. mainstream media. The Fed fails to attract new buyers to U.S. treasuries, and rumor has it Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson have been having secret closed-door meetings. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps me out, so thank you so much. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has expressed his approval of the U.S. House of Representatives voting to censure Democrat Representative Rashida Tlaib for her anti-Israel words. Netanyahu criticized Tlaib's stance, equating her words to supporting groups like Hamas and ISIS, and applauded Congress for taking action. He stated, "What this Congresswoman is calling for is politicide and genocide, the elimination of the Jewish state, the one and only Jewish state of the Jewish people." Now, on the other side of these comments, Tlaib believes that Israel is about to commit genocide against Palestine, despite the way that they are approaching their ground invasion of Gaza. So I'll let you make up your own decision, but those were the big stories in the news. Now, this is scary. The credit markets recently experienced chaos following a poor auction and a hawkish stance from the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. For those unaware, the U.S. government conducts periodic auctions of Treasury securities to help finance its operations. In this case, they auctioned off 30-year bonds with high yields, which means the U.S. government got stuck with these high interest rates. However, to make matters worse, other countries around the world did not want to buy these. So right now, the Fed is basically buying their own treasuries, or the federal government is buying those. On top of that, China hit the United States with a ransomware attack, which disrupted the U.S. Treasury markets. Now, other countries and big dollar buyers not wanting to buy U.S. treasuries is a huge concern. It just goes to show that people around the world are losing faith in the U.S. federal government and the U.S. dollar. As an unexpected and wildly publicized event, former President Donald Trump, his son Don Jr., Tucker Carlson, Kid Rock, and Dana White of UFC received a hero's welcome as they entered Madison Square Garden for the UFC event this weekend. While Tucker has been reported to previously hold unfavorable views with Trump, it appears the two have reconciled and are still friends, and are in fact having backdoor meetings where they might be talking about making Tucker Carlson Trump's vice president in the 2024 election. So don't be surprised if this continues to come up in the headlines going forward. Alejandro Mayorkas, the head of Biden's Department of Homeland Security, testified before Congress claiming there is no disaster at the U.S.-Mexico border, despite the record number of illegal crossings. After this admission, Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana bashed on Alejandro Mayorkas, stating, "Either you're not qualified to manage a Costco food court, or you believe in open borders," to which Mayorkas responded, "It's the latter." So Mayorkas advertently or inadvertently publicly admitted he is running an open border at the U.S.-Mexico border. Here's what happened next. Following these comments, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia filed an impeachment resolution against Alejandro Mayorkas, citing failure to control the U.S. border and the flow of illegal immigrants and drugs, particularly fentanyl. Greene cited that nearly 10 million illegal immigrants have crossed the border during his tenure, which has contributed to the death of thousands and thousands of Americans. Now, admitting this publicly is completely illegal, which is why she immediately moved for him to be impeached by the members of Congress. I'll keep you on the loop on what actually happens. The Minnesota Supreme Court has dismissed a lawsuit seeking to keep Donald Trump from running on the Republican primary ballot. The same thing's happening in Colorado and over in California and a few other states. The court found no error in including Trump's name on the ballot. Trump reacted to the decision, calling it a hoax and unconstitutional. So up in Minnesota, which is a swing state, the Supreme Court has ruled that it would be illegal and unconstitutional to keep Donald Trump off the ballot. We'll see if Colorado makes the same decision. In a sad development, Donald Trump's sister, Maryanne Trump Barry, his older sister, has passed away at the age of 86. She was a former federal judge and a notable figure in the Trump family. She was nominated by President Ronald Reagan to serve in the Federal District of New Jersey in 1983. Her passing is mourned by supporters of both political parties. As 2024 gets closer, Senator Tim Scott has announced that he will no longer run for United States president. Scott stated that people have made it clear that this is not his time yet and refused to endorse any candidate as of right now. Scott stated, "The best way for me to be helpful is to not weigh in on who they should endorse." Now, this may come back to bite him in the butt because many believed that he would endorse Trump and he did not, which means that he may want to endorse somebody else but isn't confident that they would win, so he doesn't want to put their endorsement on him or her. In a daring incident, shots rang out as 3 individuals attempted to break into a Secret Service SUV tasked with protecting President Joe Biden's granddaughter as she got married in Washington, D.C. Thankfully, nobody was in the SUV when the culprits broke through the window, but they were successfully chased away with bullets by Secret Service members. Following the incidents, Secret Service released a statement which read, "There was no threat to any protectees," meaning the president, "and the incident is being investigated by the D.C. police." So a break-in at President Biden's granddaughter's wedding, but the president is okay. Tension in the Gaza Strip has intensified as Israel accuses Hamas of obstructing fuel delivery to the hospital. Now, the hospital, a vital healthcare facility, faces critical shortages due to fuel blockade. According to the Israeli government, early in the morning, IDF, Israel's defense forces, arrived at the entrance of the hospital and placed 300 liters of fuel for urgent medical purposes. Later, the IDF received evidence that Hamas had blocked the hospital from receiving that so that they could say Israel is preventing Palestine from getting access to fuel. So just another propaganda story that they're trying to run with. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has just given us an update on the current state of how hostage negotiations are going. He said they were not going anywhere. Until we started the ground invasion, we were being lied to over and over and over again. However, peace through strength is prevailing, and now they are working with them. Now, we learned from one of the billionaires of Palestine that is in the country of Qatar that there are American citizens being held hostage. Sadly, one of them is a 3-year-old girl. So a 3-year-old American is being held by these Hamas terrorists. Our thoughts and prayers are with her and her family. Let's just all pray that this little girl gets returned to her family very, very soon. In a show of unity, Harvard President Claudine Gay has officially condemned the use of the controversial phrase "from the river to the sea" in response to mounting concerns of rising anti-Semitism. Now, I believe that they are watching out for anti-Semitic situations. However, another billionaire from Harvard's board just pulled his money, and 1,500 other high-wealth Jewish people have told Harvard, Yale, Cambridge, Columbia, "We are pulling our money because of your allowance of anti-Semitism on your campus." So it is going away, but this is the controversial phrase that got Representative Rashida Tlaib censored. From the river to the sea sounds like a great chant, but what it really means is wipe out 8 million Jews in Israel, and they have no place to exist on this planet. That's what that really means. Now, the Washington Post just released a groundbreaking report challenging the narrative surrounding the Nord Stream pipeline explosion. According to people familiar with the situation, the Post claimed that Ukrainian Colonel Roman Chervinsky was one of the main coordinators of the attack. The chain of officials with knowledge of the attack was alleged to have gone to the top, which means that Washington Post is essentially accusing Ukraine directly. Now, Zelensky has denied this, but now there's bad blood between he and General Zaluzhny, and now Zelensky is saying, well, maybe Zaluzhny had something to do with this, and he's just not telling me. Seymour Hersh, the investigative reporter that broke the story, that the CIA, President Biden, and an elite Navy dive team are still the ones that, in fact, blew up the Nord Stream pipeline in order to sabotage NATO partners Germany and in order to stick it to Vladimir Putin. Now, Larry Johnson, former CIA, confirmed this morning that there is an underground battle going on between the CIA and MI6 of Britain for who gets to control the false narrative about the Russia-Ukraine war. And so they're dropping misinformation in different newspapers and media outlets in order to confuse Britons and the American people. Ukrainian President Zelensky has called for more aid as Ukraine will have a challenging winter and the ongoing threat of Russia approaching the capital of Kyiv. Now, according to another top Ukrainian official, Russians are beginning to increase efforts to recapture those territories that were taken back by Ukraine. And there's been battles back and forth, drone attacks, hits on ammunition warehouses, but it does seem that Russia continues to dominate the war theater when it comes to the Ukraine war. I'll continue to keep you guys updated. Now, before you go, I want to remind you that you are amazing. Hey, I just want to say thank you guys so much for being in my community. I love you guys. I love bringing you guys the news. So thank you so much for that. If you wouldn't mind, please give this video a like and share it with family and friends. We want to grow the community and get the truth out about what's really going on, because we can see the CIA is meddling in the truth, MI6 is meddling in the truth, we're being given lots of false narratives and war propaganda, and I'm doing my very best to keep you in the loop. Now, before you go, check out this video or check out this video. Thanks so much, and I will see you on the next video.